Happy Wednesday! So the car audio is really bad. I know. My exhaust thing's gotten worse recently. And it will continue to be bad, but I do have the new part. It should be shipping in today, which means I got to install it, / get it installed, / help my dad install it in a couple days, and that will hopefully fix things. But today I wanted to, initially I tried recording a podcast this morning, and I ended up scrapping. I deleted the whole thing. I got like 10 minutes in. And it's because the car audio kept distracting me. I really could not focus. But that was also because I had just not woken up, but it was within the first hour of my day. So I was pretty easily distractible. It's how it is. And that was on location, and why it matters. But right now, I might talk about that. This might be a split podcast. One sec. Gotta do parking garage things. Alright. So loud. And that was going to be a discussion on, what I'm looking for in a house, and why location matters, and the different reasons why it matters. And I might still go over that, but, and I was going to actually split that into two, so maybe I'll do that as one big thing. But today is Valentine's Day, and yesterday was the Lunar New Year. It is the Year of the Dragon. So if you celebrate Lunar New Year's, which I didn't used to, but now that I have some people in my life who do, and because of video games usually acknowledge the Lunar New Year, especially if it's a game that has an international following. So it's something to consider. But happy Lunar New Year, happy Valentine's Day. I currently am single and do not plan on doing anything date-related tonight. I am, however, meeting with my community group, which is usually 15 to 20 of us who hang out and do cool things. And that's every week. And we're doing a red-themed potluck, so if it's red, bring it. That's the theme. So I am bringing fruit punch, but I was initially going to bring some Stella Rosa because it was the only red thing I had. I'm going uphill, by the way, so if my car is loud, that's why at this moment. Once I'm on the highway, it'll even out. But because this is a mixed context where wine would not be ideal, decided to bring fruit punch instead. And I have a friend going out and picking up some for me instead, which is nice of him. Man, this thing is loud. Doing a traffic circle. Oh yeah. It's like loud enough that people's heads turn when I accelerate. Like right now. I mean, I don't blame them. Like, it's loud. Anyway, I guess I haven't gotten into the subject matter yet. I was going to talk about holidays, and why they're important. Just celebrations in general, and why they are a needed break from the mundane. And if I have time at the end, I might talk about the housing stuff, or I might include that in a separate podcast. But yeah, let's talk about holidays. So, holidays or celebrations? I guess holidays commemorate things. Celebration is usually you actually do something with it. So, let's go with holidays, because usually you celebrate holidays, but you don't celebrate every holiday you have isn't a celebration necessarily. If that makes sense. Like we had this week was President's Day, or next week? Next Monday, I think, is President's Day. And I don't really know anyone who celebrates President's Day, but it is a holiday. It's a holiday for the U.S. to recognize and remember our presidents. Which, cool. And I guess Founding Fathers as well. They're included in that. So celebrations, holidays, and why they matter. Why they matter? I'll figure it out. But holidays, why they're important, why they matter, why you should celebrate them. Holidays and why you should celebrate them. I like that one. That blends both ideas. Holidays and why you should celebrate them. Alright. It's so loud. Almost to the highway. I'm taking the ramp up now. And then I can control the speed. I can hold it so it's not as loud once I get going. I just have to accelerate up to the speed, and then once I'm there, I can maintain it. And with the highway, there's no stops, so there's no more accelerations unless it's traffic. Also, I should note, I'm still technically in my work day, so this is it's not a post, it's not a pre, it's a midpoint pep talk, I guess. Here's that acceleration. Once I merge on, it'll be good. But yeah, it shakes everything. It's gotten worse, the car noise. But I'm in the middle of my work day. I decided that it was pretty slow at work this week. I got everything done that was tasked of me, and I figured I don't want to be late for tonight's plans, and it being Valentine's Day, I have a good enough excuse. So I was able to leave a little bit early. One sec. Get all the way over. Feel the power. Oh wait, it's photo enforced. I shouldn't accelerate that much. Alright. Now I can keep it kind of quiet. I might have to slow down for the road work, but I also hear air flowing, which isn't good. It's like one of my doors isn't shut, so it sounds like. Anyway. But yeah, so middle of my work day. I'm still gonna work when I get back. That's kinda my intermediate. I'll hop online and still respond to emails, still do my job. But until then, you got me in between. And today we're going to talk about holidays and how to celebrate them. So let's actually talk about it. Enough introduction. Enough car noises. Enough. Holidays. How does it? Why? How? Why you should celebrate them? Do I start with the new year and just work my way through the year? I don't know. Let's talk about what is a holiday. A holiday is a culturally agreed upon date that carries significance. I'm out of the work zone, I think. It's a culturally agreed upon date that carries significance of some sort that people can choose to celebrate or not to celebrate. It often commemorates something serious or something joyful or something impactful, something big that happened. And they can be a positive or negative things. And there's very few negative examples of holidays. Alright, this is where the camera is. If it's going to get me, it's going to get me here. But there are a few negative examples of holidays. So like, the remembrance of 9/11 is, technically speaking, a holiday in the cultural definition of what a holiday is. Now, we wouldn't celebrate 9/11, at least not in this country. It's something evil and awful that happened, the events of that day. The 4 airplanes being hijacked, 3 of them crashing into buildings, 1 crash landing because the crew took over, or the passengers took it back. That one doesn't get as much coverage, but there were 4 airplanes, not just 2. Because there's the one that hit the Pentagon, the 2 that hit the World Trade Center. Yeah. Man, this work zone is freaking long. Is it ever going to end? I wonder. Anyway. So that is an example of a negative holiday that you do not celebrate. Then there's neutral holidays, which are like President's Day, like I mentioned, where you don't celebrate it, and it's a commemorative remembrance of something, but it's not necessarily, like we would say it's positive in the U.S., but it's not like a big deal. There are other holidays that are similar to that. Take like St. Patrick's Day. That's a positive holiday that people celebrate, but it commemorates something that's not necessarily, it's lost its meaning in our culture. So St. Patrick's Day is talking about bringing bringing Christianity to Ireland, and the works of St. Patrick, and it's a holiday that's celebrated over there for their culture and their country, but there's enough Irish immigrants that it's a big enough deal here years ago. And then it got adapted into a drinking holiday where everyone wears greens, and there's leprechauns for some reason, and I don't know where the leprechauns come from. I know that on St. Patrick's Day, I wear green and my fedora, and I have a nice gingery beard, so I look like a leprechaun. And I go along with it because that's my culture. That's how I celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And chicks dig leprechauns, let's be honest. I wish they did. They really don't. Anyway. Then there's holidays that everyone, or not, and when I say everyone, I generalize, that most people celebrate. I think I just got cam red. I found the officer. Dang. I was only going like 11 over. Anyway, time to accelerate now. Alright, now keep it quiet. Best I can. Oh man, that sucks. I hope the camera, I'm on a major highway. They set the speed limit to 45. There was no construction going on, and there was just a cop sitting there with a flashy camera thing. I saw the flash go off, but it could have gone off for the guy in front of me or behind me. I don't know. I think I was doing 55, which is the normal speed limit. Anyway, I hope not. I'll let you know in a future pet talk if I get one, if I get a ticket. So holidays. So that's kind of like the categories and classifications of holidays. You get stuff like Christmas, which a lot of people celebrate, both Christians and non-Christians. Or you get stuff like Yom Kippur, which, if you're not Jewish, you probably don't celebrate. Or you get stuff like Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which is, I believe, his birthday. And it's a celebration of the civil rights movement and the work he's done specifically in that. And a remembrance, too. Like, it's an ongoing thing as well. There's still civil rights that are being fought for. And discussed. Anyway. There's freaking 4th of July. It's the signing of the Declaration of Independence. There's holidays for countries, there's holidays for cultures, there's holidays for religions, and there's holidays for people. Your birthday is a holiday. That's congratulations, happy birthday. That's a holiday. So if we have all these different days in our year, in our 365.25 roughly days a year, I'm including the leap year, which for some reason the leap year day, February 29th, feels like a holiday too. It's like, oh, we get an extra day this year. The reason why these are important and why you should celebrate them is holidays bring people, well, there's a couple reasons, but the main thing is that holidays always are not to be celebrated alone, or they are not designed for individuals. So your birthday is for you, yes, but birthdays typically requires probably the wrong word, typically warrant having people come together to celebrate. Christmas by yourself is just sad. Like, there was one year during COVID where my family got COVID and I didn't, so I couldn't go home for Christmas, so I ended up spending it with my pastor's family and some international students who also had nowhere to go for Christmas, which was nice of them for hosting, I suppose, my pastor and his family. I'm gonna shut up every time I gotta accelerate, because I know that the wave hammer I put on these audio is gonna bring the audio down to a level that equalizes it out with the rest of the audio. So if it peaks there, it'll cut it down. And if I were to talk there, it would cut my voice in a way that you wouldn't be able to hear me. So if I have to accelerate, I'm gonna shut up for a second. But anyway. So, yeah, holidays are meant to be celebrated with people. Solo holidays are usually just holidays you ignore. I don't think there's a single holiday designed for the individual, except maybe tax day, but even then, that's you and the government, and that's not really a good holiday. That's a deadline, more than anything. Let's see. So, that's kind of reason one. Celebrate holidays because it brings people together. They're designed for people. You are a person if you're listening to this. Unless you have your dog laying in the background listening to this, then they also are, and this is not for you then. But if you put this on, you're not a dog. Anyway, so holidays are made for people. Reason one. Reason two. They draw to your attention something significant. In the case of holidays that remember events like 4th of July or like Martin Luther King Jr. Day, MLK Day, they call to remembrance what has happened in the past. Christmas technically does the same, so does Easter. It's something significant. And significant things are not to be forgotten. It's a collective shared cultural, religious, historic, national, you name it, history. Individual history that we share. And our history is important. You don't want history to repeat itself in a negative way. But also you want to know where you came from. And if you want a reason why you want to know where you came from, well, it draws significance to your roots, to what formed you, what made you who you are, the culture you live in, why things are the way they are. Knowing your history helps you understand the present circumstance better and will help you foresee what may be held in the future. Especially if history is repeating itself. So they draw to mind significant events and things in life. They're important for that reason. That's why you should celebrate. Or remember, I guess might be another good word, substitute word. like Veterans Day and Memorial Day. They are two sides of the same coin. They both are relating to the military, but Veterans Day relates to active duty service men and women, while Memorial Day commemorates those that have served and have fallen in service, or who have. I'm trying to think. Veterans Day is for people who are alive. Memorial Day is for people who's not. I believe that's the significant difference. So they're both important. They're both very similar. But usually you celebrate veterans and mourn the lost. You can celebrate the lost too, but it's like in a solemn remembrance sort of way. Excuse me. Anyway. Point number 3 of why you should celebrate holidays. Holidays and why you should celebrate them. Holidays you should celebrate because it divides up life. It breaks apart the seasons. It breaks apart our calendars. It keeps things interesting. It distracts you from the mundane. It gives you something to do with people, and it's the special occasion that is recurring in your life, our holidays. So you should celebrate that. There's nothing wrong with living every day of your life the same way. Having rigidity and patterns, that can be a good thing. Okay, I need to move over. There's a truck in front of me with a bunch of rocks. Every time it goes over a bump, I get pelted. So I'm gonna move over real quick. I was gonna say prepare for acceleration. I'm trying to keep as quiet as I can. Car noises. Without hitting the car in front of me. Because I'm getting pretty darn close. Anyway. But yeah, celebrate these things. Let me get over now. He's moved over. So it's 11. Actually, I need to get over again. I'll do that in a bit. Yeah, celebrate these things. It breaks up your day. It breaks up your schedule. There's nothing wrong with rhythms and patterns. That's what holidays are, in essence. They're patterns of behavior and events. Man, even the car when I'm not accelerating makes a ton of rattling and noises. Alright, let's go all the way south towards Washington. Let's do it. It's weird, I can hear it pop whenever I go to accelerate. Also, my ears are popping. Hopefully I haven't pressurized the cabin. That could be it too. Wait. Oh, that is not the right exit. Okay. I got so many things in my car that can rattle too. I got a friggin' laser cutter in my back seat. Pre-Annex 40 watt. And I got a ton of laundry and my book bag and some food and other stuff up front. But yeah, holidays. So that's the third reason. Celebrate them. They break up your life. They give you a chance to enjoy something that's not mundane or ubiquitous. I feel like I use the word ubiquitous every other pep talk. I really like the word. Once I learned what it meant maybe 4 years ago, and I've kind of worked it into my vernacular. Another fun word. Alright. getting on to 95, so gonna accelerate real quick. Let's go first. It's deafeningly loud when I do that, by the way. I know you're hearing it like compressed and reduced, but for me it is freaking loud. Oh, here's that truck again. I'm gonna get around this guy if I can. I don't know, there's no trucks in left lanes, and there's trucks in the left lanes, not following the law. Yeah, holidays, why you should celebrate them. It's the fifth reason, food. Holidays usually come with food, or a reason to eat food, or good food, or go out for food, or make food, or cook food, or bake food, to consume food. Food is good. There's the food we eat every day, and then there's the food we eat on holidays, and those are different. There's holidays sometimes entirely about eating food. And no, I don't mean Thanksgiving, although, although Thanksgiving is a holiday where we eat a ton of food, it's actually a celebration of the slaughtering of a Native American tribe, another Native American tribe, and the early colonists. And it's basically a joint celebration between the victorious tribe and the colonists, as like we won, this is our victory, like, feast over them. That's how it was intended. That's what the holiday celebrates, and you probably didn't know that. Or if you did, you didn't learn about it in elementary school. It's probably the best way to put it. Alright. You probably learn about that later in life. But yeah, Thanksgiving is a holiday that celebrates a slaughter, a massacre, an actual genocide of a tribe. So, more you know. And we celebrate it every year. And we celebrate it with food. Trying to think of, I feel like there's a holiday for every single food. You know, a couple weeks ago we had, I think I mentioned it in my pep talk, we had National or International Hot Chocolate Day. And I drank hot chocolate on that day. You know, there's Donut Day, there's Pizza Day, there's Talk Like a Pirate Day, there's all these like little non-special, not non-special, but non-impactful days that are holidays that we work into our lives. Talk Like a Pirate Day is one of them. Opposite Day, another one. April Fool's, the day that we can all be silly as a culture, and it's socially acceptable. It's like the purge for silliness. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like everyone has a mischievous nature to them. So instead of being mischievous all the time, because that's not socially acceptable, it's frowned upon, you're allowed to be mischievous one day out of the year, and that's okay. And we call that April Fool's. I don't know why it's April 1st. I get the alliteration, but you could have said any day first. March 1st. March Fools. Like, it's the same thing. So, that's that. But yeah, food's a part of it. I know in our family, on my dad's side at least, Polish and Italian, my grandmother bakes for every occasion she can, when she can, and she cooks too. Like, for example, we have Lent coming up. Now, I'm not Catholic, but most of my extended family is. And for Lent, my grandmother makes codfish cakes, which they used to sell apparently for like a nickel back in the day. But they're fish cakes that have blended in powdered mashed potatoes, like freeze-dried mashed potatoes, and usually mix in some seasoning like parsley or something, and then fry it. And so that's a holiday surrounding around food. Although it's really a season, but she makes it at the start and distributes it to us as a family. So this year I got codfish cakes. I picked up cod, dried, salted, boxed cod, so that I can cook my grandmother's codfish cakes. I tried doing it with frozen cod. The frozen cod was fine, but I added too much potato to cod ratio, and it didn't turn out how I wanted it. It was too potato-y, and didn't taste right. So I got dried salted cod instead, which I got to boil a couple times to get all the salt out of it. What the heck? It's hailing? That's weird. There's not a cloud in the sky above me, and there's hail. On the middle of the highway, too. Very strange, very strange. Little patch of hail. It's not even that cold. It's 45 degrees outside. Why is there hail? You know what they say. I'm in Maryland. If you don't like the weather, just give it 15 minutes. It'll change on you. Yeah, so holidays, food, they go hand in hand. Gift giving is also similar in that respect. Some holidays warrant gifts, like Hanukkah, birthdays, Christmas. I'm trying to think if there's any other holidays that do. Valentine's Day, today. Usually you give gifts to your partner, your loved one. You don't have to. That's also cultural. Like Valentine's Day over in Japan, for example, it's a tradition that you give people chocolate, and you get the person you like chocolate. But some people will just get everyone chocolate, and it kind of loses meaning in that sense. Every culture has a different celebration for even the same holiday. Holidays in the U.S. are different too. I'm trying to think of a good example would be, like national holidays are going to be different for regions. Like fireworks, certain fireworks are banned in some parts of some states over others. Or, let's see, for 4th of July is what I was thinking. Trying to think of another cultural one. Accelerating. Anyway, holidays also. I guess this is kind of like food. This is kind of like gifts. Holidays also have their own music associated with them. I heard a song on the radio that's, I think, new, or within the last 2 years. A song about Thanksgiving. Around Thanksgiving time it played. There's tons of Christmas songs, Christmas music. Easter music is weird. It's probably like a lot of Latin hymns. I don't know. 4th of July, you're going to get Yankee Doodle. Your birthday is Happy Birthday. Sometimes Marilyn Monroe version. Like, different holidays have different tunes associated with them. We talk about the spooky, scary skeletons when it's Halloween season. Or you have I'm trying to think of other ones that would have holiday music. It's just a lot of holidays do. Love songs on Valentine's Day. That's not specific, like, for that holiday, but you're gonna hear love songs on Valentine's Day. That's pretty normal. Let's see. Yeah, so food, gifts, and music, all things that go along with holidays, each in their own right. Some holidays aren't food related, some aren't music related, some aren't gifts. But that was reason number 5. for holidays and why you should celebrate them. You know what? And I think this is going to be. I'm going to transition into talking about houses because I'm going to relate it to holidays. So, one of the prime reasons that I want to buy a house is to host family, host friends for holidays, for events, for celebrations, and I can do that in a rental, but you're limited. If you're renting with people, you're limited. If you're renting by yourself, usually your space is limited because of your price. There's a lot of limiting factors that go into it. So if you want to host, it really does feel like you need a house. Or to be at least renting a house and have roommates that are okay with it. Especially if you're my age. I'm 23. Soon to be 24, but I'm currently 23. I think I'm the youngest person in my office, by the way, which is strange to think about. But I'm not a kid, like that's the thing. It's a learning experience and I'm young, but I'm not a kid. So everyone treats me with respect and dignity, and they understand when I make mistakes, I'm in the learning process. And there's just generally a higher tolerance for screw-ups than there were back when I was a kid. Ironically, I think it'd be the other way around. Of course, that's just my experience. I know things are more serious and more real, and your screw-ups are going to cause more issues. And mine have, probably, but it's not like a failing grade. Anyway, that's a tangent. Which, side note, work holidays are a thing. We get off work for holidays. I guess that should be point 6 and 7 or whatever. And that there are also work holidays. So whenever there's a new person in my office, we usually do a new person, new hire breakfast or brunch. I had one my first week. It's just to get everyone together, eating another meal, and to meet the person that's hired. So that everyone knows their name, and everyone introduces themselves to that person. So I don't know how much of it sticks, but everyone knows their name. That's kind of the point of it. It helps people feel included and not go under the radar. Yeah. Okay, but yeah, buying a house. So, location on that. Because I want to host family and holidays, I got to pick a location that is, relatively speaking, within drivable, travelable distance to my family and my friends. So I got friends who live in Arlington, Virginia, and they're 45 minutes away, and I'll show up for holidays, but I'm not showing up on the weekend. Any normal given weekend, unless there's plans made. That's a prime example of the distance being short enough for occasions, but far enough for day-to-day use. Usually if you're under an hour, people will travel for a holiday. If you're over an hour, people start making excuses. If you're in my family, they'll make excuses over 40 minutes, typically. So that's a consideration. You have the aspect that your location of your home is going to determine the school district you're in. It's going to determine your neighbors. It's going to determine your taxes, if you have local taxes. My state does not. We have state tax and federal tax. We do not have a local tax, as far as I'm aware. Might determine property taxes, but those might be handled at the state level too. I'm not sure, actually. I have to double check on that one. I think in Maryland they're rolled into state tax. They're not local. But, again, I might be wrong on that. The location of your home, the geographic location. If you're in the woods, you're going to have to deal with deer and raccoons and foxes. If you're in a city, you have to deal with congestion and air pollution and people. If you're in a suburb, you have to deal with mowing your lawn and probably mowing your lawn. possibly far from work. You know, there's a lot of trade-offs that will depend on where you live and the location you live in. So location really matters. It also determines your price. That's probably the biggest thing. So if your goals are to host and be hospitable, well, there's prices associated with that, and that's going to determine the area you live in. Your cost of living increases or decreases depending on the location you're in. That's a big aspect of it. Whew, my voice. I feel like I kind of throw my voice into a certain timbre when I talk on these. I can feel it in the back of my throat after a while. Because most people don't talk for this long on end without a break. In my case, it'll be about an hour, I think. And it's also really weird to see 95 pretty much empty in the middle of the day. I mean, there's big trucks, but only a few passenger cars. Mine being one of them. Let's see. But yeah, so location. It matters. It matters a lot. The other aspect of buying a house I'm considering, and it's the number of people I want to live with. So, obvious answer, it has to be at least one. That's myself. But I currently live in a house with 6, including myself, 6, sometimes 7 people in it. And we're all not related to each other. Well, some of us are related, but not in a legal sense. Anyway, what I mean is, like, sometimes people come in and visit for extended periods of time. Like, my roommate's girlfriend will come down for usually 3 weeks at a time during breaks, and she'll live there. So that's like the 7th person is what I mean. Let's see, what else? So, number of people. I've lived, in the last 5 years, I've lived in 7 different locations with 17 unique roommates, 17 unique people. So I know what I want. In that sense, I know the kind of people I like, and I know the people I don't like. I know what I like in homes, not buying them, but like I know what I'm looking for. Like I want a kitchen with an island. That's nice. I want a room, preferably a bedroom with a big white wall, so that I can project onto it with a projector. And I can paint walls, that's fine. I just need an unbroken flat surface. It's more so the point. Like every side of the room can't have a window or door, basically. Or if it does, I have to be big enough that there's a large enough wall space for a projector. Let's see, I'm pretty indifferent towards a yard or not. Basically, I either want a big one or I don't want one at all. That's kind of how or more so I want property or I don't want it at all. So I'd be fine having a few acres of woods, or I'm fine having a condo, I think. That's more so the location side, but it affects the people you live with too. If you're in a condo, it's less maintenance if you're renting out the roommates. So this would be under the assumption I'm buying. Well, then I'm going to be a landlord if I have roommates. That's another consideration. If the roof breaks and it's not a condo, then I am not responsible for that. Or sorry, I am. If it's a condo, I'm not. But as a landlord, I would be. Now, I gotta get over. Acceleration! Alright, I get it nice and quiet. Yeah, so there's that aspect to it of people. And I know there's some people I just like. If I had a priority list, I'd want to live with other Christian men, young Christian men, because we have much in common. And there's a mutual baseline trust and understanding there. Then I would prefer to live by myself, and then I would prefer to live with non-Christian roommates. Because out of all 17 of the ones I've lived with, like, I could make a case that all 17 were not Christians. Probably closer to like 16. I'm thinking there's one guy who's on the fence. Maybe 15. Maybe 13. I don't know. The guys I live with now, they do go to studies, and I think they're active in their faith. They just don't live like it sometimes. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. So people is a large aspect of what I want to do with buying a home. Because if I have people, I can make money off of them. I can rent, and that will help pay mortgage, but also I need a bigger mortgage if I want to have people, so it's a trade-off. And if they're young Christian guys, I really don't want to make too much money off of them, you know? Like, I want them to have affordable housing. I would probably just have them cover their share of a mortgage. Split it 3 ways type thing if I had 3 people. And taxes, of course. But there's that aspect to it. My car really it's really bothering me. That's the other thing, location to work. How did I forget this? Distance to work, distance to my other weekly attendances, like church. I go to church every weekend. I try to. That's a regular, recurring commute in my life. And so I have to consider this when I pick a location, when I pick where I want to buy a home. There's also stuff like crime and such. That goes along with, like, the school district aspect of it. But yeah, distance to my commutables. Like right now, I totaled it. I spend 5 hours a week in my car on a nominal week. That's under the assumption I'm going up to work 3 days a week, and commuting back and forth from my parents' place, and going to church, and then going to community group. Those are like the things that are consistent every week in my life. And there's some that are on top of that, like in this season, I meet with a bunch of people to eat throughout the week at different days pretty regularly. But that's a seasonal thing more so than a consistent thing. I will consistently work. I will consistently go to church. That kind of stuff. This is also all under the assumption that I have the same job I have now in a few years. So far so good. Like, no issues. I don't think I'm going to get fired anytime soon. Or let go. I'm proving my worth at the company, which is good. And that's great for me. Why is it so backed up here? I'm on Route 1 right now. It's usually backed up when I come back, but it's particularly backed up even though it's the middle of the day. Probably people leaving campus or going to businesses. Or maybe there's an accident because I'm watching someone do a U-turn in the middle of the road, which is strange to see. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'll take the back way. Yeah, I'll probably take the back way. If it's going to be this slow. Not a big fan of taking the back way, but it loops me around the backside of campus, and I have to go through it to get to my place. But better this than stuck on Route 1. So this is another thing, traffic. Traffic is a huge, huge, huge consideration with where you live. Now, and I don't just mean in the commute sense. Like, I have a friend, his name's Zach. He grew up near the Bay Bridge. If you're going towards the Bay Bridge from the west side, there's all these little neighborhoods near Kent Island. Kind of Island's one side of Bay Bridge. I forgot what the name of the other side is, but there's all these like just neighborhoods back there, and during rush hour traffic and during weekends on summers, you basically can't leave your neighborhood. There's so much traffic, you're just boxed in for hours if you attempt to. Finally moving, by the way. But yeah, you're just boxed in for hours. So that's like a sense of not his commute, but cutting it close with that one. Acceleration. Be careful, there is a traffic speed camera here. I'm not gonna get stuck by a camera again. Not twice in one day. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, hopefully they'll just hand wave the last one. I mean, I don't know if the system automatically will do that. I mean, it was so close to the speed limit. Anyway, yeah, that's another thing. If you have a house next to a traffic camera, like, you have to budget in that you're going to get a ticket. It's going to happen. It just does. Or if you're near a school zone, and you have to know that it might be congested a certain time of day. There's all these like little considerations with location and traffic. Little things you have to be aware of. This car's still loud. So it's like, have to accelerate constantly. Man. The other thing is, with location, and the people aspect, like that's my two big, and then the price. Price is the third. Those are the three big holdups right now on me buying a home. Knowing what location I want to do it in, knowing if I want to do it with people or not, and knowing how much it's going to cost, what price. Although the price will flow out of the first two. So, if I get a one-bed, one-bath condo in a bad neighborhood, I'm looking at like 110 grand. By the time closing costs and everything else, and taxes, probably like 135. For a one-bath condo with an HOA every month in a bad neighborhood. It's not ideal. But it's actually affordable. Like, I could pay that off quickly. Just like quickly. I don't want to expose myself. Looks like I'm getting a phone call. Hold on. I'll just quickly... Why is he calling me in the middle of my day? It's 1 o'clock. He knows I'm at work. Not that I'm driving right now. But I'll call him back once I get home. Just Jim, my mentor. I see him a lot, so we'll see what he's up to. But anyway, so like, that's a consideration. It'd be a lot. My life would be, from a location standpoint, would be a lot easier if I decided to leave the community I'm in right now down here in College Park. If I get something up north closer to work, shortens my commute. I have the church I grew up in's community to fall back on. I've spent a lot of time with them this weekend. in various capacities. It was Super Bowl this weekend, so another holiday, by the way. That's a sports holiday that we all celebrated, and there's tons of finger food and just general merrymaking, catching up. That's why I picked up the laser cutter. But all that's a consideration too. Is I have that community back there, but I've since separated myself from that community, and now I'm just kind of dipping my toes back into it when I'm home. My parents' house. My brother's buying my parents' home because his job he can do completely remote, I think, and when he does go in, he has to go into the naval yard. So it's not too bad when he occasionally does. So he just doesn't want to move. He's comfortable where he's at, and it works out for my parents because then from what my brothers told him, they'll always have a home whenever they're up here visiting. They don't have to get hotels and such, and they can just leave whatever crap they want here. So it's working out. Buying from family is not necessarily a bad thing. Loaning money from family is, but buying from family is not. There's a lot of freedom in that. So that's a consideration. Trying to pull out in front of me, which I was motioning, I think, her to pull out, but she did not, which is weird. Anyway, so it's if I live up near my work and near my old home, heck, I could even rent room for my brother. That would make things so much easier, and it would make things cheaper, ideally, and it would be more in the I don't know if it's the area I want to live, but it's the area I'm familiar with. I'm also familiar with things down here nowadays, too. It's, how to put it, I like this area where I'm at because of all the diversity. There's a lot to this area. It has this county, Prince George's County, has the highest immigrant population on the East Coast, from what I heard, and I think read. There's just a lot of cultures and people here, and because of that, there's a lot of good food, too. And because of that, it's always interesting. And sometimes because of that, there's a good amount of crime as well. This is, there's actually not as much crime as I would think. Well, violent crimes, I mean. There's tons of, drug deals and stuff that happen around here. And, of course, being near a college town, tons of underage drinking. Technically a crime. But there's, I don't know, the general price point of this area is everyone doesn't have money. That's kind of the theme, is, everyone here is lower class or middle class. And if you're upper class, you own the property around here. Your stuff here is so expensive. It can be. But I'm trying to, buy something here. So if I buy something in this town, if I go one town over, I'm saving myself $200,000. Just because of the location of being near to the university. There's so much wrong with the price hike in this area. And usually the houses are all old. My house I'm living in now is built in the 30s. 1936, maybe? I think, when I looked it up. Maybe 33. I don't know. But it's old homes that fall apart and have problems. So it's, that's what I'd have to expect if I got something here. Alright, I'm almost home to my house. To my location where I celebrate holidays. And it looks like that's the other thing, parking. Oh my gosh, there's no parking. That's frustrating. Which means I need to park in the driveway. Because I need to park in the driveway. It's a pain to get out of the driveway. That's all I'm going to say. So that's another aspect of your location, road access. Anyway, thank you for listening to this week's Pep Talk this day. Today's second attempt at a Pep Talk. I know with my car, it's pretty annoying right now. I've even debated recording these until I fix the problem. Just because it's so loud. So very loud. Alright. But I'm home now, so thanks for listening. I hope that you think about holidays, why you should celebrate them, and also the location that you celebrate them in, and maybe buy a house one day, and the people you want to celebrate it with, and the people you want to live with. So, combo, pep talk, yeah. Happy Valentine's Day, happy Lunar New Year, happy birthday if it's your birthday. Odds are, if you're listening to this, at least one of you has a birthday today. That's just how it is. Alright, well, see ya. Bye.